Thanks for tuning in to Add2 Live. I'm your host, Erica Gordon, the Communications Chair for Add2 Houston. Tonight, our guest is connecting with us all the way from NYC. We're here with Havas Worldwide's production coordinator, Theodore McFail. Theodore is a Houston native. He actually graduated from U of H, so go Cougs. Hi, Theodore. Thanks so much for joining us. How are you this evening?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. I'm going to start the interview off with a few general questions, but all throughout the interview, you guys can tweet in your questions for Theodore with the hashtag Add2Live, and I'll ask them for you. Theodore, I was especially excited to chat with you tonight. As a newcomer to the industry, I am dying to know how you managed to progress so quickly and so early on in your career. For those of you who don't know, Havas Worldwide is a huge global agency that has offices all around the world and work with some of the biggest brands. So Theodore, tell us about your career path thus far and the transition you've made from small to medium to large size agency environment.
So when I started studying advertising, I always knew I wanted to eventually be at a large agency. And so during university, I realized in order to climb up to that ladder or get to that point, I would have to just be involved in different student organizations that would give me like the skill set or an attributes needed to work in that particular field. So when I was at U of H, I initially sold ad space for the Daily Cougar. So I was like a digital display sales representative. And I picked that job just because it had the word advertising in it. So that would probably guide me into a more, I guess, fitting role within the industry. So I was able to gain some experience with the Daily Cougar. And after that, I applied to Drumbeat Marketing. And so that gave me my first experience with a boutique agency. So just learning the ins and outs of digital, such as like SEO, copywriting, and digital platforms, etc. And so after a few months at Drumbeat, I leveraged that experience to get an internship at MMI agency. And so at first I started off in accountant services, so learned like fundamentals of product management, so producing schedules, dealing with clients, managing people internally, whether it be like creatives or production, etc. And then I just pretty much forlayed that into applying for a position at Havas. And so, so pretty much it was just a snowball of gaining experience and attributes needed to work in the industry. And I kind of like had a goal in the very beginning to I kind of had the foresight of where I wanted to be. I just had to figure out like how exactly I was going to jump from point A to point C and figure out how point B was like going to help bridge the gap between those two.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about Havas Worldwide and your role there.
So it's like a pretty much expanding on what you mentioned. It's a global agency, so we have offices in New York, California, Chicago, and like pretty much almost every like several other countries as well. And so some of the clients we have are TD Ameritrade, Hershey's, Progressive auto insurance, or Progressive Insurance with like Flow, Jack Daniels, etc. And so,
Flow?
Yeah, you can actually, can you see a cutout of her in the background? Are you able to see that? Where is it? Ugh.
Oh yeah, I think I see it.
It's like a huge cutout of her right there. It's like another.
So cool.
It's like another brand we work on is Dos Equis, which is pretty much probably our marquee brand that we the agency of record for. And so right now, I mainly serve Hershey's, and so I'm a digital producer on that account, and so it's a lot of project management for different digital initiatives. So whether it be social media, digital display, websites, and communicating to clients. So on a day-to-day, I pretty much manage a team of creatives, whether it be copywriters and designers and web developers, just to produce work. And I help to provide like the logistics of the digital programs that we build out. So I of course have to make timelines and schedules. I of course have to like brief teams so everyone knows on the right page, and everyone is um, um, everyone knows like what to do that day or within a given time period. And I have to talk to clients just to inform them of the status of different projects and to answer any questions that they have. And to, I guess,
Okay.
educate them on how digital works. You'd be surprised how people who aren't really millennials don't really get the benefits of social media or what a cover photo is.
So I guess as a production coordinator, like you were just saying, you have to deal with people internally and externally. So which side do you find more difficult or like stressful to manage?
I mean, they're actually two different jobs. The reason why I deal with clients is a few months ago, our account executive left for another big firm called Publicis, and he now works on Cadillac. And so once he left, our account director just tapped me to take on his roles and responsibilities, as well as continue producing digital work. And so they're both like, it's technically two different jobs, and they're both challenging because you're the point person for the client and you're the point person for everyone inside the agency. So you have to like know what's going on. And at one point I was on IBM and Hershey's. So for Hershey's at the time, I had to just talk to clients, continue emailing them, give them a call about the status of different projects, or explain what was happening, or if there's any crisis, I had to like help resolve that or help put out fires. And after you talk to the clients, you have to talk to your team, and hopefully you can get that done with between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. because like that's your window of like when everyone gets into the office, because your creatives don't come in until like maybe like 11 a.m. and like they probably leave at like around 4:35 p.m. So you have to get so much done within such a short time period. And then it was challenging because I was on IBM at the time, and so I didn't really have time to provide adequate support to both accounts at the time. So it's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed that you deal with all that, and I'm assuming you deal with it well because you have a job at such a great company. So do you mind me asking, how old are you?
27.
27? Okay. Okay. Let's see. What other questions do we have for Theodore? So I guess just kind of going off of what you were saying about how you worked on Hershey, what kind, like, what's the difference to you as far as working on a bigger brand or ones that are maybe not as well known?
Definitely
how does that differ?
Definitely gives you bragging rights, just because whenever recruiters look at your LinkedIn or resume, they automatically know like what brand that is. And they've probably seen like a commercial or two, and it's a product that you can actually purchase at like a market store or wherever. It's pretty much everywhere. There's like a store, it's like a Hershey store in Times Square, so like people know what that brand is. It's global. And but other than that, there really is no difference. Like you can get experience on any account, like big or small. But yeah, it just looks good. It just looks good on your resume, and also they have bigger budgets, so you're able to do bigger projects. Like a few months back, we had a cross promotion party in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, for Icebreakers and BuzzFeed, and so like we had director Kevin Smith come out and like show one of his like old films from the '90s called what was it called? Bob Silent Bob and Jay and Silent Bob. So like we brought him out and like premiered one of his or showed one of his like past movies there, and it was pretty cool.
That's so cool. Let's see. One question we have is, do you have a favorite industry to work with?
Industry? I mean, I've worked with IBM, TD Ameritrade, Diageo, which is Johnny Walker, Bailey's, and then there's Hershey's. Probably my favorite one is probably Hershey's, just because it's the most fun. And we get like a ton of candy in the office. We have like a closet full of candy. Our desk always has candy. Under our desk, there's like bags of stuff and products. And after every season, like we can just like take it home with us. Like we still like a ton of candy from like Halloween. And also like the Hershey's team is like pretty young, and like we actually like hang out with each other outside of work.
Oh, that's cool. That's nice. Let's see. Another one we have is, what was the biggest difference between MMI and Havas?
So when I applied to Havas, I wasn't really used to recruiters asking me like what MMI was. Like if you work in advertising in Houston, you probably have heard of MMI. Whereas when I went to Havas and I was interviewing elsewhere, people already kind of knew like who our clients were and like what the name was about. Also, another big difference is probably like just the size of the agency. So MMI is like in New York is considered a smaller agency, but in Houston it was considered big, like almost one of the biggest agencies. So it was just realizing just like working here just made me get like a more of like I guess another perspective of like of the industry in general. And then also it's just a bigger size. So I work with like a huge team on Hershey's, so big that like there's like 2 offices dedicated to just this one account.
Oh wow!
And so everyone, so like we have like 60 people at our sister agency Arnold, and then we have like another creative team and account team and producers at Havas.
So they have like, you're not the only production coordinator on each account that you work on?
I'm actually the only production coordinator on this account, but we have like multiple creative teams, multiple senior producers, and about 2 or 3 account directors, and like a ton of social strategists and social coordinators.
Okay, that's interesting. So let's see. Another question we have is, if you could tell your college self anything from your current experience, what would your advice be? Or what would you advise yourself to do differently?
I really wouldn't do much differently, just because when I was in university, I was pretty competitive, and I always was. I always had a drive to just realize like what I wanted. So I knew I wanted to work at a big agency, so I realized I had to take step A, B, C to get there. But like I could say this, I would just learn how an agency works and processes, just because like when I was at U of H, we had like mock agencies or micro agencies, but they didn't really explain like the actual roles and responsibilities of each discipline. So I would just learn, but the only way you could like learn that is by just getting agency experience. So yeah, I really wouldn't change too much.
Yeah, you seem to be doing pretty good from where I'm standing. Let's see. So what was something that stood out on your resume to Havas? Or I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I don't know if I've been saying it right.
I know it's Havas or Havas. Yeah. Probably that. Well, it helped that I actually knew that I knew someone that worked here from university. So he gave me the recommendation, and what stood out on my resume that they liked was the fact that I actually worked with like um, I experienced managing different digital programs, whether it be email or online display or websites. So they knew I could leverage that experience to help out with initiatives here. And I was pretty enthusiastic about the opportunity and very well prepared for the interviews I had to take when applying here.
Okay. How long have you been at Havas?
Since January 12th.
Since January 12th. Okay.
I think the audio cut off.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Let's see what other questions we have on Twitter. So, what kind of publications do you deal with the most externally? Because I know you guys, you have to manage, I guess, a lot of different projects as far as like, is it billboards or like print, and like what do you deal with most often?
So I mostly deal with digital. So I don't really do traditional media. So like out of home
Oh, okay.
billboards or too many TV spots is under my belt. So like that's pretty much done by like another team.
Okay.
So like right now I'm working on the website redesign for Hershey's.com, a Reese's mini campaign for NCAA that I think launches next February or March, and social monthly content calendars for a number of the brands.
So another question we have is, do you prefer working on one or two major accounts, or working on multiple accounts across various industries?
Probably just one, just because like there's no time to work on two at the same time and still leave the office at an adequate time. Like yesterday, I left the office like around 9. I'm only on one account. So if I was still in IBM, I would probably be working until midnight, which is what I had to do after our former accounting executive left. Like I wouldn't leave until like 9 or midnight sometimes.
That's intense. You said earlier, oh, go ahead, sorry.
And like even on vacation, I still have to like email and like check in on people.
You said earlier that, I guess you were saying creatives come in at like 11 and leave at like 4. Is that typical, like on a regular basis, or if they have a light workload?
No, that's pretty typical, especially in New York. Like when I was at MMI, people will look down on you if you came in later than like 8:30 a.m. Where it's here, it's like, okay, as long as you get here before, or like I'm not a creative, so as long as I get in before 10 a.m., that's fine. And as long as I leave between like 5 and 6, like that's fine. Like that's just how the culture is here in New York. Like as long as you get your work done, like people don't really care.
That's cool. So I know as a production coordinator, you can also work in the film industry. Are there any other avenues production coordinators should look for in their job search, like outside of the advertising industry?
Well, production coordinators, our digital producers are half project managers and half account service representatives. So pretty much anything that involves a job that needs like a project manager, and like that's pretty much, I think that's valid across like most industries, really. Like, are you very detail oriented? Are you very organized? Then if there's a project management need, then like you could apply for that. Like that could be another career avenue for someone.
Yeah. Another question we have is, what's some advice you'd give someone who is hesitant to move into a larger agency?
I mean, I wouldn't be hesitant at all. Like there's really, like once you figure out the processes and how a larger agency works, like there's really nothing to be afraid of. Like just try to learn as much as you can and leverage that to ladder up to like something even greater. Like I would not be intimidated at a large agency at all. Like, but if someone is like hesitant or uneasy about the change, I would just let them know that every account is pretty much a smaller group of team members. So think of it that way. So like even though like Havas is like 8 floors in one building and like one floor in another, and like has like hundreds of people, like just recognize that I guess every account like represents like a small agency, so you wouldn't feel that out of place or that lost. I mean, like it's still like a pretty close knit group of people.
That's nice to hear, because that for me, that would be one of my bigger concerns, is just kind of getting lost in the numbers, I guess. Kind of like when you're applying to schools and like, you know, going to bigger schools like UT or something, you're literally just a number. Like the chances of you getting really close with your professor, you know, it's just not, you know, as likely.
No, like I feel like I'm more closer, even though Havas is a bigger agency than MMI, I'm probably a lot closer with the people I work with here than I ever was at MMI. Like I feel like account directors at MMI or brand managers at MMI were kind of like they position themselves on another level, whereas here account director here is just like that could be like your drinking buddy. Like that's someone like you could have like a casual conversation with. So that I feel like in New York the culture is a little bit more approachable and a little bit more down to earth and like definitely less corporate.
That's cool. Another question we have is, if you weren't in production, what other area of an agency would you be interested in working with?
Nothing, because production involves like a lot of my natural attributes of being like organized and thorough and detail oriented. So I couldn't really imagine another discipline that I would venture into.
Okay, that's fair. Let's see. So now that you've experienced all three, what's your preference? Small, medium, or large size agency, and why?
Bigger agencies, just because you have larger clients that are recognizable. Bigger agencies have more capabilities. They have a department for literally everything. So when I was at MMI, we had designers who were also developers. We had production project managers who were also client facing, whereas here it's like people have like specific roles and career paths. So we have one person that talks to clients, we have another person that manages the internal team, we have one person that just designs, we have one person that also takes those designs and develops, and then we have another person that just does information architecture. So they're the ones that like help organize like how a website should be structured and how subpages within a website should be ordered. So we have disciplines for just about everything. It's cool to like see that.
Okay, and let's see, what is your favorite aspect of your job?
Probably the people I work with, because we get along very well, and the perks. So like every Thursday we have happy hour at Havas from like 5 to 7, and like people use that for like pre-gaming. At our sister agency across the street, we have like a beer tap, which is like always on. Yeah, the perks here like help to like retain the talent here, because when I first moved here, I wanted to use Havas as a jumping pad to move into an even bigger agency, like that was more creatively known in the industry. But you make friends here, and like you realize like the perks and benefits are pretty well worth it. But yeah, no matter where you go, probably the most important factor would be the people that you work with. As long as you can get along with them and like have a good working relationship with them, that makes things a lot better. It doesn't really feel like a job, because we work on a candy account and we deal with social data. Like we pretty much do what we would normally do, but we just get paid for it.
So going back to how you landed your job in New York, someone asked, how did you leverage your connections to be of value later on? if you met someone at UH, which you said that you did you stay well connected, or did they reach out to you and say, hey, we've got this open position? Or
So we were actually really good friends. So when I applied, he realized that, or he overheard my name amongst the other digital producers, and he just gave me like he gave someone like a recommendation about like, oh, he's a great guy. Like I went to university with him, yada yada yada. And so like that helped like facilitate like me getting a job, because people are most likely hire you if someone they know or someone they work with like already has like a good relationship with you. And so like me and my friend we're actually in the same department.
oh, okay. What does he do? Just out of curiosity.
He works on Liberty Mutual and a pharmaceutical client.
Okay. Well, I think that was it for our questions on Twitter, and I'm all out as well. So I guess we can wrap it up here, kind of right on time at just under 30 minutes. So thanks so much, Theodore, for chatting with us and giving us your insight and sharing your story. We really appreciate it, and we wish you the best of luck in your future in New York. Don't forget about us little people in Houston. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thanks for having me. Have a great rest of the night as well.
All right. Bye.
Bye.